In the beginning, there was a single sound, a sacred word, whispered into the silence of the void. That word rippled through the darkness like a stone dropped in a still pond, vibrating with creative power. From that primal utterance, light burst forth, stars were born, and the cosmic dance began. Such is the ancient story shared in many forms. In the beginning was the Word. Throughout the ages, sages and seers have taught that speech is no ordinary act. Every word we speak is an energetic blueprint, a seed cast into the field of reality, inevitably blossoming into form. Words carry vibration. Just as a pebble creates ripples in water, your voice sends ripples through the invisible ether of the universe. Speak with love, and loving energy expands around you. Speak with fear or anger, and that vibration reverberates, drawing forth experiences to match. Intentional speech is the art of consciously shaping those vibrations, choosing words with purpose and conviction so that they become declaration the universe faithfully echoes back. This is the law of vibrational creation, the principle that your spoken words, fueled by belief and feeling, manifest in the world around you. The universe, like a great mirror, reflects our spoken declarations into reality. Since antiquity, mystics have understood this truth. In sacred traditions, it's said the world was sung or spoken into existence, whether as the Om of Vedic sages or the commanding Fiat Lux, let there be light, of Western scripture. Even the word abracadabra, whispered by magicians, traces to an ancient phrase meaning, I create as I speak. The magic was never in the props. It is in the word itself and the intent behind it. Our ancestors knew that to name something, to speak it aloud, is to invoke its essence. Words are spells. They cast forth creative energy. When uttered with intent, they shape destiny. When uttered carelessly, they can just as surely sow chaos or limitation. Consider this. How often do you say things like, I'm unlucky, I'm broke, I can't do this, or I hope things get better? Each of these utterances is more than an observation. It's an instruction to creation. I'm unlucky becomes the blueprint for your fate, bidding the universe to arrange more misfortune. I hope sounds positive, but hidden within it is doubt, a signal of lack that returns to you unmet longing. Now, imagine replacing those with powerful certainties. I am fortunate. I am abundant. I can do this. Things are getting better now. Feel the difference in energy. Such intentional, positive declarations serve as new blueprints, inviting the universe to build a matching reality. With each conscious word, you paint the canvas of existence. Modern science echoes what the ancients taught. Everything is vibration. Our thoughts and words emit frequencies that interact with the world. Speak a loving phrase to a glass of water, and its crystalline structure shifts beautifully. Speak harshly, and it disorganizes. An insight from Japanese researcher Masaru Emoto, that hints at a deep truth. And since our bodies are mostly water, the words we speak about ourselves literally affect our physical form. The boundary between speech and matter is thinner than we think. Your voice carries the creative life force, what some might call prana or spirit, outward into the world. This audiobook is a journey into the mystical art of wordcraft, the deliberate use of speech to transform life. Through poetic tales and practical rituals, you will witness how words can bring forth prosperity, love, healing, confidence, and so much more. Each chapter offers a story illustrating the transformative power of intentional speech, drawn in the style of ancient wisdom teaching. You'll meet characters who, by changing the way they speak, change the course of their lives. After each story, you'll receive practical guidance, affirmations, rituals, and speech practices, so you can apply these lessons in your own daily life. Like the heroes of these tales, you will learn to weave words with purpose, speaking in the present tense as if your good has already arrived, avoiding the language of doubt and fear, and embracing a tone of certainty and conviction. You will explore the rhythm of breath with speech to amplify your voice's energetic impact. You will practice mirror rituals, spoken journaling, and ceremonial declarations that align your vibration with your highest intentions. Approach this journey with an open heart and mind. Allow yourself to believe in the poetic truth behind the stories. As you listen and speak along, you are not just hearing a story, you are actively reshaping your reality. The power of the word is already within you, waiting to be awakened. Take a slow breath now. Feel your inner voice stirring and prepare to step into a world where language and life weave together as one. Our first story begins in a humble village with a man who will discover how a single spoken promise can unlock the floodgates of abundance. Chapter 1. The Wealth of Words, Prosperity and Abundance. In a dusty village at the edge of a great desert lived a humble farmer named Harun. Year after year, Harun struggled to coax crops from the dry soil. A harsh drought had shriveled his fields, and his coin pouch was nearly empty. Each night he sat by his barren garden, head in hands, and spoke words of despair into the dry wind. "My land is cursed," he sighed bitterly to himself. "I have no luck. There is never enough. I am doomed to be poor." His words hung in the air, heavy and without hope, as barren as the cracked earth at his feet. One evening, as the sun melted into the dunes, an old sage passed through the village and overheard Harun's lament. The sage was a wanderer of unknown name, silver-haired and bright-eyed, known in whispers to some as a messenger of the universe. He approached the farmer gently. "Peace to you, friend. I could not help but hear your words. Tell me, why do you curse your own field and fortune?" Startled, Harun looked up at the stranger. "I speak only the truth of my life," he replied curtly. "My crops fail, my purse is empty, my family starves. Fate has dealt me misery, and I voice my suffering. What else is a man to do?" The sage nodded slowly, seating himself on a stone by the garden. In the dimming light, his eyes shone with a mysterious confidence. "Words have power more than you know," he said. "When you say, 'I have nothing,' the universe hears it as a command and makes it so. But what if your words could be a seed instead of a curse? Even the desert with the right seed and water can bloom into a garden." He ran his fingers through the dry soil and smiled. "Your words are the seeds you plant in the field of possibility. Thus far you have planted only thorns with your tongue, and thorns are all that grow." Harun frowned, not fully understanding. "My words? A seed? I only described what is true. How can saying something different change anything? Talk won't bring the rain or fill my bowl." The sage chuckled softly. "Ah, but consider. What is a prayer, if not words reaching out to the unseen for aid? And what is a curse, if not words invoking misfortune? Every day, unknowingly, you have been praying. For poverty with your complaints, and affirming drought with each hopeless utterance." Harun's eyes widened. He had never thought of it that way. "Are you saying I caused this with my words?" He gestured at the wilted plants. "There are many forces at play in life," the sage said kindly, "but your speech has indeed been a powerful partner to the misfortunes. You have given them a home in your mind and reality by constantly speaking of them as unchangeable. Now," the sage's voice grew melodic and compelling, "what would happen if you began to speak blessings instead? What if you spoke as though abundance were on its way, as though the rain were coming and the harvest assured? In the unseen realm of possibilities, your words would be like rain clouds forming, like seeds taking root. Sooner or later, that invisible garden would sprout into your world." Harun felt a spark of hope stir, but doubt lingered. He had spent so many years voicing misery that imagining different words felt unnatural, even false. I could try," he said hesitantly, "but I do not truly believe any good will come. I would be lying to say all is well when my stomach is empty." The sage placed a comforting hand on Harun's shoulder. "It's understandable, my friend. The soil of your mind is dry and cracked from long drought. It needs gentle tending. We will start with a simple practice. Stand up." Harun rose uncertainly. The sage stood beside him under the twilight sky. "Look up at the stars beginning to appear," the sage instructed. "They are like lanterns of hope in the dark. Now repeat after me and try to feel the truth in the words as you say them." The sage lifted his arms as if to welcome the night and spoke in a clear, resonant voice. "I am provided for. The universe blesses me with abundance." Harun swallowed and in a trembling voice repeated, I am provided for. The universe blesses me with abundance." As the words left his mouth, he felt oddly self-conscious but also curious. "Good," said the sage. "Now again, with more certainty, draw the knowing up from your belly as if it were water from a well." He took a deep breath and declared, "My fields are fertile. Prosperity flows to me like a river." His tone was rich and unyielding, as though stating an undeniable fact. Harun took a deep breath, straightened his back, and spoke louder, My fields are fertile. Prosperity flows to me like a river. As he said it, he imagined a strong river flooding the desert with life. A strange warmth bloomed in his chest. The sage smiled and continued, his words slow and rhythmic. I have more than enough. I am rich in heart and in life. Harun spoke in unison this time, finding a steadier cadence. I have more than enough. I am rich in heart and in life. He realized he actually liked the sound of these declarations. They felt like cool water on his parched soul, even if part of him still worried it was fantasy. For the next hour, under the sage's gentle guidance, Harun practiced speaking new phrases into the night air. They spoke of gratitude for the smallest things, a cup of water, the stars overhead, and of faith that more to be thankful for was coming. With each statement spoken, Harun felt his mood shift from despair toward a cautious optimism. The sage encouraged him to breathe deeply with every affirmation, to let the words vibrate not just in his throat, but in his whole body. Your breath is the spirit carrying your words, the sage said. Feel how a confident breath makes your voice stronger, your words more potent. Indeed, Harun noticed that when he inhaled fully and projected his voice, the statements felt more real, more powerful. The desert wind itself seemed to pause and listen. Before departing, the sage looked intently at Harun. For the next 7 days, speak only in the spirit of abundance. Each dawn as the sun rises, step outside, face your field, and thank the universe for the prosperity already on its way. Speak as though the rain has come, the crop has grown, and your table is overflowing, even before these things happen. And whenever you catch yourself worrying or complaining, stop the thought mid-sentence and choose a new word in that very moment, a word of possibility. Harun nodded, still a bit unsure but determined to try. He thanked the sage for his counsel. The old man simply tapped his staff on the ground and replied, "Thank your own word. It will do the work if you let it." With that, the mysterious sage continued on his journey through the night, disappearing as swiftly as he had appeared. That night, for the first time in years, Harun did not fall asleep murmuring fears. Instead, he whispered a prayer of gratitude. Thank you for the riches I have, and the riches on their way. It felt odd. He could not see these promised riches, but in speaking such thanks he found a tiny ember of faith glowing within. He slept deeply and peacefully. Over the following days, Harun faithfully practiced the sage's advice. At dawn, he spoke to his fields with hope. My crops grow green and tall. I am grateful for the harvest. When he visited the market, he spoke as a man of means. I have enough to share and spare. To his surprise, on the third day a distant uncle came to visit, and I gifted him a sack of grain, enough to sow new seeds and feed his family in the meantime. Harun remembered to speak gratitude for this unexpected bounty rather than calling it a mere coincidence. As he continued declaring prosperity, he found himself inspired with new ideas. He repaired his irrigation canal, traded some grain for 2 goats to start a small herd, and even assisted a neighbour with carpentry in exchange for help in his field. Each act seemed guided by a newfound optimism. One afternoon, dark clouds gathered on the horizon, the first clouds he had seen in a long while. Standing in his field, Harun felt raindrops begin to kiss the dust. Looking up to the sky, arms raised, he laughed aloud and shouted, "The heavens open their abundance on me." What a change from the man who a week prior would have cursed the sky. The land drank greedily of the rain. In the weeks that followed, Harun's crops sprouted vibrantly. His goats produced milk. Prosperity, once a distant dream, became his living reality. By season's end, what had been a wasteland was now rows of golden grain swaying in the breeze. Villagers came to ask Harun how he had achieved this turnaround. He simply smiled and said, "I tended to my words as much as to my soil. I spoke blessings to my land, and it seems the universe blessed it in return." The same plot of earth, the same man, but a very different energy now pulsed through his life, an energy he himself had helped call forth with his voice. Harun never saw the sage again, but he carried the old wanderer's teaching in every phrase he uttered. No longer did words of lack or self-pity pass his lips. If a problem arose, he spoke of solutions and faith. When others complained, he gently reminded them, "Speak of the good you seek, not of the bad you fear." His life became a testimony to the truth that what words shape reality. He went from poverty to plenty, from despair to hope, guided by the simple but profound practice of intentional speech. In time, Harun's modest home became a gathering place for neighbours to share positive intentions each morning. Together they would speak affirmations for rain, for healthy children, for thriving businesses, whatever blessings they needed. And more often than not, those blessings would soon follow. The village, once downtrodden, found new vibrancies. Prosperity was no longer a far-off wish. It was a living presence nurtured by their daily spoken words. Each word is a seed. Harun learned this on that fateful evening and proved it with his life. He discovered that when you sow words of abundance, you reap abundance in return. His story reminds us that even in the most barren soil or circumstances, the language of prosperity can call forth hidden fertility. The universe is always listening, ready to mirror back whatever we proclaim. Now, having heard Harun's tale, consider your own life. What seeds are you planting with the words you speak each day? And what harvest would you rather grow? Remember, your words are your wand. With practice, you too can conjure wealth in every sense, not only financial, but richness of health, joy, and opportunity. Let's explore how you can begin this transformation right now. Practice, abundance, affirmations, and ritual. To cultivate prosperity in your life, start by speaking the language of abundance, just as Harun did. Try the following practice and make it a daily ritual to set a vibrational tone of wealth and plenty. 1. Morning gratitude, declaration. Each morning, preferably at sunrise, step outside or face a window. Take a deep breath and Speak aloud 3 things you are grateful for, that you already have, e.g., I am grateful for the roof over my head, the food on my table, the people I love. Then add a statement of gratitude for something you desire as if it is already on its way. For example, thank you for the financial abundance flowing into my life today. Or, I am grateful for the new opportunities and prosperity coming to me now. By combining gratitude for present blessings and future ones, you set a powerful expectation of good. 2. Affirmations of prosperity. Throughout the day, speak affirmations that reinforce a mindset of plenty. You can say these to yourself in the mirror while commuting or any quiet moment. Speak slowly, clearly, and with conviction. Here are a few to get you started. I am abundant in all ways. Money and opportunity flow to me effortlessly. I always have more than enough for my needs and to share. Prosperity is my birthright, and I claim it now. I welcome unexpected blessings and wealth every day. Pick 1 or 2 that resonate, or create your own, and repeat them regularly. Notice the energy each affirmation brings. You might feel a lift in your mood or a sense of reassurance. That feeling means you're aligning with the vibration of what you speak. 3. Abundance reframe exercise. Pay attention to any negative words you catch yourself saying about money or resources. If you hear yourself complaining, I'm so broke, I can't afford this, I'll never get out of debt. Pause and consciously reframe the statement into a positive declaration. For instance, instead of I'm broke, say, money is coming to me, I welcome it. Instead of I can't afford it, say, I will find a way to afford what I need, resources are on their way. Instead of I'll never get out of debt, say, I am steadily moving into wealth and freedom. By immediately pivoting your language, you stop reinforcing the unwanted condition and start energizing the solution. This may feel strange at first, but as with any habit, it gets easier with practice. 4. Prosperity journaling optional bonus. In the evening, you may also keep a speech journal. Write down any lingering worries about finances, then next to each, write a declaration of the outcome you desire, as if it's certain. For example, if you worry, I might lose my job, write I am secure in a fulfilling job and my income is constantly increasing. What you wrote out loud, firmly and confidently. This combines the power of the written word with the spoken word, imprinting the prosperity mindset deeper into your consciousness before you sleep. Performing these rituals consistently plants new seeds in the fertile soil of the universe. Be patient as they take root and grow. Just like Haroon's crop, results may sprout in surprising ways. A chance meeting, a new idea, a stroke of luck. Stay alert and receptive. Trust that every intentional word is heard and answered. Remember, speak of abundance, and abundance shall speak back to you. Let your words from this day forward be blessings upon your life. You are the narrator of your prosperity story. Make it a glorious one. Chapter 2: The Echo of Love, Love and Connection. A young woman named Celine sat alone by an ancient well at the center of her village. Twilight had fallen, and the first stars glittered above, but Celine's eyes were fixed on the still water at her feet. In that mirror-like surface she saw the reflection of a lonely soul. With a heavy sigh, she whispered to the water, "Why am I so alone? Will I ever be loved?" The well echoed back a soft whisper of her words, a gentle echo that seemed to mock her longing. Celine's heart ached. In her mind, she repeated the refrain that had taken root over years of disappointment. "I am unwanted. Love is not for me." It wasn't that Celine lacked kindness or beauty. In truth, many admired her from afar. But she had been hurt before, a beloved friend moving away, a promise of marriage broken. And over time she began to speak only of loneliness and unworthiness. Those words became the story she told about her life. Though she yearned for companionship, every day she unwittingly affirmed her isolation. She would tell anyone who asked that she expected to remain alone. In her private moments, she prayed for love, but her prayers were tangled in doubt. "I hope someone will love me someday," she would say with tears in her eyes. Yet in the very next breath she might mutter, "But who would ever choose me?" Thus, hope and hopelessness chased each other in circles around her soul. That night, as Celine gazed into the well, a familiar figure approached, the silver-haired sage who travelled through those parts from time to time. He remembered Celine from previous visits. As a child, she had been bright and full of affectionate words for everyone. Now he saw the sorrow that clouded her once sparkling face. The sage spoke softly so as not to startle her. "Good evening, dear one. I couldn't help but overhear your heart's longing." Celine quickly wiped a tear from her cheek and stood, embarrassed. "Forgive me. I didn't see you there, sir." "There is nothing to forgive," the sage said, smiling kindly. "Loneliness can be a heavy cloak to wear. Would you like to sit and talk for a while?" After a hesitant pause, Celine nodded and sat on the old stone rim of the well. Something about the sage's presence felt comforting, as though an unseen friend had arrived. "I feel so alone," she admitted quietly. "I see others laughing together, families, sweethearts, but I have none of that. It's as if the universe has forgotten me." The sage peered into the dark well, as if studying the depths. "This well," he said, "will echo back any words spoken into it. I heard you ask, 'Will I ever be loved?' And it echoed, 'Be loved.' Did you notice? The echo only repeated the last part, 'Be loved,' almost as if giving you an answer hidden in your own question." Celine looked at the sage in surprise. She had heard the echo, but only felt mocked by it. She hadn't considered its content. "It said, 'Be loved,'" she murmured. He nodded. "Be loved." Perhaps the universe is giving you a gentle instruction to be loved. You must first be love, to yourself and to others. The words you speak about love and about yourself are like calls into the world. What call have you been sending out, my dear? Selina bit her lip. I've been calling out that I am unloved and alone. It's all I seem to talk about to myself, and even to others sometimes. And so that echo returns to you over and over, the sage said. Loneliness answering loneliness. What if you sent out a different call? The world would surely echo it back in time. It might sound too simple, but the language of love begins on our own tongues. Words spoken with love and about love have a magnetic quality. They attract connection. She looked down. I don't know if I have much love left in me to give. My heart feels closed off. The sage's voice was gentle. Your heart may be guarded now, but its light is not gone. We can coax it back to brilliance, word by word. Let's start with how you speak about yourself. He reached into his satchel and pulled out a small brass hand mirror that caught the starlight. He offered it to Celine. Take a look, he said. Celine peered into the mirror. She saw her face, eyes red from crying, expression doubtful. I see myself, but not as I once was, she whispered. Memories of happier times flickered across her mind, when she used to sing with friends, when she believed in love wholeheartedly. I see someone worthy of love, the sage said, as if he too could see her reflection. Now, I want you to speak to this worthy person you see. She needs to hear a different story from the one you've been telling. Celine's hands trembled slightly as she held the mirror. What should I say? Truth, answered the sage. Not the truth of your fears, but the deeper truth of your soul. Start simply. Tell her she is loved. Celine hesitated, her throat tight. This felt strange and a little uncomfortable. But under the sage's encouraging gaze, she drew a breath and whispered to her reflection, You are loved. She barely heard her own voice, so she said it again, a little louder. You are loved. Again, said the sage softly, like a gentle kiss of words, and use I as if you speak from the soul within the mirror. Celine inhaled, and this time spoke slowly, tenderly. I love you. You deserve love, completely. Her eyes welled with tears, not of sadness this time, but of emotion, as if a long-locked door was opening inside her chest. Beautiful, the sage said. Your words begin to untie the knots around your heart. Now, speak of the love you wish to invite into your life, as if it is already arriving. Selina closed her eyes for a moment. She imagined what it would feel like to have a true companion, someone who adored her, a family of her own perhaps, and also a warmth inside her where self-doubt currently lived. She opened her eyes and spoke into the night. Love is coming to me now. I'm attracting loving, healthy relationships. I'm so grateful for the love I give and receive. As she spoke, her voice gained strength. The well caught the sound and echoed faintly. Receive. The sage placed the mirror gently back in his satchel. How do you feel now? He asked. Celine wiped her tears, but this time she wore a small smile. Tender, hopeful. It feels nice what I said. Part of me doesn't fully believe it yet, but another part of me dared to. He nodded. That is the seed planted. You only need to nurture it. In the days to come, be mindful of every time you lament or speak ill of yourself. Instead, speak kindness and connection. Use your words to weave bonds. Compliment your neighbors genuinely. Offer blessings to others openly. What you send out will return. And above all, continue to affirm to yourself that you are worthy and loving. Over time, the echo that comes back to you from the world will change to match the new song you sing. Celine thanked the sage sincerely. As they parted, he said one last thing. Remember, loneliness is a shadow. You can't chase away a shadow by fighting it. You must shine light. Your words of love and affirmation are that light. That night, under a velvet sky, Celine did something she had never done before. She prayed not in desperation, but in trust. Standing by her window, she spoke aloud to the moon, which glowed like a silver coin in the sky. I know my life is filled with love, she said softly. Some of it I see, and more is on its way. Thank you, universe, for guiding love to me and me to love. Though she was still physically alone in that moment, as the words left her lips, Selina felt a presence of warmth surround her. It was as if an invisible embrace held her, and she fell asleep feeling cradled by that comfort. In the days that followed, Celine committed to speaking the language of love and connection. Each morning she greeted herself with kind words, setting a loving intention for the day. Today I give and receive love with ease. She caught the old habit of self-pity whenever it arose and countered it firmly. When her mind said, I am alone, she gently replied aloud, I am loved. I am surrounded by love in many forms. When she passed neighbors, she made an effort to smile and offer a kind word. Even something simple as complimenting the baker on her bread, or thanking the shepherd for the music of his flute that brightened the evenings. Speaking these small, loving words to others made their faces light up, which in turn made Celine feel more connected and appreciated. She realized there was more love around her than she had been willing to see while she was mired in self-pity. One sunny afternoon, as Celine helped an elderly woman carry water from the well, she found herself humming a little tune, something she hadn't done in ages. A travelling minstrel happened to be resting nearby under a tree. Drawn by her humming, he struck up a conversation. He was gentle and witty, and they talked for a long time, laughing more than Celine ever expected she would again. Over the next week, the minstrel, whose name was Dorian, sought her out each day. They walked by the fields, exchanging stories. Celine, remembering the sage's counsel, spoke freely and kindly, expressing genuine interest in Dorian's tales and sharing her own with a newfound openness. She didn't once say, I'm sure you'll leave soon and forget me, though the fear flickered in her mind. Instead, she told him, I truly enjoy our time together, and your presence brings me happiness. Each positive word was a deliberate choice, opening a door instead of closing one. Dorian found Celine's honesty and warmth refreshing. In her, he saw a rare sincerity and a shining spirit that perhaps she didn't even know she had. On the day of his planned departure, Dorian surprised Celine by returning to the village, a bouquet of wildflowers in hand. I was going to continue my travels, he said softly, but my heart keeps echoing your name. If you allow, I'd like to stay a while longer, perhaps a long while. Celine's eyes filled with joyful tears as she realized her earlier words had come true. Love had been drawing nearer with each loving word she spoke, each kind act she offered. She responded, voice trembling happily. "I would like that. I welcome it with all my heart." In time, Celine and Dorian's friendship blossomed into deep love. Villagers remarked how Celine seemed to glow these days. She became known for her encouraging words and genuine compliments, almost a local angel of kindness. People felt drawn to her nurturing presence. It was a far cry from the lonely girl who once wept at the well. She had transformed her world by transforming her words. By speaking as if love was already hers, by affirming her worthiness and sharing kind speech, she magnetized those very things into her life. But perhaps the greatest transformation was within Celine herself. Even if Dorian had not stayed, she had discovered a love that would never leave her, the love within. Through daily affirmations and gentle words to herself, she mended her wounded self-esteem. She no longer told the story of being unwanted. Instead, she carried the unshakable knowing that she was deserving of love, and that the universe had an abundance of it waiting for her. This new belief radiated from her in every conversation and action, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of connection. Indeed, the universe echoed back to her the love she had learned to voice. Celine's story reminds us that the words we speak into the void, even if it's a whisper to a silent well, are always heard by something greater. Speak of loneliness and the echo returns emptiness. Speak of connection, of compassion, of your own worthiness to receive love, and life will begin to answer with open arms. The vibration of love in words is one of the most powerful forces known, for it resonates directly with the essence of the universe, which is love itself. If you have felt alone or unloved, take heart. Like Celine, you hold the key to changing that. It begins with changing the narrative you speak about yourself and about others. Tell a new story, starting now, in which you are worthy, loved, and deeply connected. As you do, you'll find that what was once a lonely echo becomes a joyful chorus. Practice speaking the language of love. This practice will help you open your heart's energy through intentional words, cultivating both self-love and loving connections with others. You can do these exercises daily to gradually shift your vibration to one of love and belonging. 1. Self-love affirmation ritual. Just as Celine did with the sage's mirror, begin each day by speaking kindly to yourself. Stand before a mirror, or simply place a hand on your heart if a mirror isn't available. Look into your own eyes and speak at least one affirming, loving statement about yourself. Use your name or I statements. For example, I love and accept myself completely. You, your name, are worthy of love and respect. I am loving, lovable, and loved. My heart is open and love flows freely to me. Speak slowly and mean it as much as you can. If it feels emotional or strange, breathe through it. That means it's working to dissolve old beliefs. Over time, this will become more natural and profoundly empowering. Your effective actively rewriting the inner script you carry about your worth. 2. Heart-centered breathing with affirmation. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. As you inhale, imagine filling your heart with warm golden light. As you exhale, gently speak a phrase like, "I am loved," or "I radiate love." Do this for several breaths. This combines breath, which centers and calms you, with words, which direct your intention. It aligns your vibration to love at both the physical and energetic level. Even just 2 to 3 minutes of this heart-breathing affirmation can shift your mood significantly. 3. Outward expressions of love. Each day, make it a point to speak a word of kindness or appreciation to someone else. It could be a family member, a friend, or a stranger you encounter. Compliment something you genuinely admire. You have a contagious smile. Your insights in the meeting were really helpful. That color looks great on you, etc. Or simply offer a kind greeting. If no one is around, you can even speak a blessing for someone in your life. "I send love to my sister today." These spoken kindnesses not only uplift others, but also reinforce in you the belief that you live in a loving, friendly world. What you give out, you will feel reflected back in subtle ways. 4. Affirm loving relationships. Present tense. If you are seeking a romantic partnership or deeper connections, speak about it as if it's already unfolding. For example, each night you might say aloud, "I am grateful for the loving partner who comes into my life." Or, "I have friendships that are deep, joyful, and supportive." Adjust the words to fit your desires. The key is to avoid phrasing it in a longing way, not "I wish I had" or "I hope for," but rather as a confident expectation or current reality. "I am attracting," "I am blessed with." By doing this, you're training yourself to expect and recognize love's arrival, and you're sending a clear signal to the universe that you're ready to receive it. 5. Transmute lonely thoughts. When feelings of loneliness or unworthiness do arise, they might, and that's okay, address them with compassionate speech. If you catch yourself thinking, "I am alone," gently say out loud, "I may feel alone right now, but I know this feeling will pass. I am loved in more ways than I can see, and more love is on its way to me." If you think, "I am not good enough," respond aloud, "I am more than enough. I am uniquely wonderful." Speaking directly to negative thoughts in this loving, corrective way can be incredibly healing. It's like being your own sage, guiding yourself back to truth. Practiced consistently, these habits of loving speech will transform the energy you carry. You'll likely notice changes. Perhaps people will respond to you more warmly, or you'll find new people entering your life, or existing relationships improving with better communication. Most importantly, your relationship with yourself will become one of respect, kindness, and care. In speaking love, you become love, and life will surely mirror that love back to you. Remember, your voice can call forth the echo you seek. Let that echo be love. Chapter 3. The Healing Word, Healing and Health. Old Malik had been known in his village as a hearty, strong man for decades. He worked the fields with the vigor of someone half his age and never fell ill. But as the years passed, Malik's health began to fail. Now in his 70s, he found himself beset by aches, fatigue, and a persistent cough that rattled his chest. Visits from the village healer provided only temporary relief. Over time, Malik grew bitter and fearful about his condition. He took to sitting on his cot, muttering to anyone who would listen, and often to himself. "My body is breaking down. I'm just a sick old man now. I'll never get better." Each morning, the first thing he would say is, "What pain will plague me today?" And each night, he would go to bed sighing, "I doubt I'll ever feel well again." These words, spoken again and again, seemed to drain his spirit as much as the illness drained his body. One autumn afternoon, as Malik rested under the shade of a neem tree, the travelling sage wandered into the village square. He saw a group of children playing nearby, and Malik watching them with a forlorn expression. Malik coughed hard, which caused the children to glance over sympathetically. The sage, observing quietly, noticed that after coughing, Malik shook his head and grumbled, "This cursed cough will be the end of me." Sensing an opportunity to help, the sage approached with a warm smile. "Good day, sir," the sage greeted him. "That's a nasty cough, but I'm sure it's not the end of you." Malik chuckled dryly. "Feels like it might be. At my age, every illness could be the last." The sage sat on the bench beside Malik. "May I ask, what do you do to care for yourself each day?" Malik shrugged. "I take the herbs the healer gave me. I rest. Not much else to do." "And what do you say about your health?" the sage inquired. Malik looked at the strange questioner, confused. "What do I say about it? I say it's terrible. I say I'm doomed. What else is there to say? I'm only speaking the truth." The sage tilted his head. "Perhaps the truth as it seems now, but every illness has two parts, the condition itself and the story we tell about it. You are diligently repeating a story of decline and hopelessness. What if that story is weighing you down more than age or illness alone?" Malik frowned. He had never considered that his own words might be affecting his health. "It's just words. I hurt whether I complain or not." At this, the sage reached into the folds of his robe and produced a small flask of water. He handed it to Malik. "Would you do a small experiment with me, Malik?" For the sage, in his mystical way, already knew Malik's name, or perhaps had heard it whispered by the villagers. Malik uncorked the flask and sniffed it. It was plain water. "What sort of experiment?" he asked, curious despite himself. The sage took the flask back for a moment and held it between his palms. Closing his eyes, he spoke softly into the water. "Thank you, water, for bringing healing to Malik's body. You are charged with vital energy." Then he gave the flask to Malik. "Now take a sip and tell me if it tastes any different." Malik raised a skeptical eyebrow but obliged. He sipped the water. It tasted cool and somehow smoother, sweeter than ordinary water. A pleasant warmth spread in his chest. "What sorcery is this?" he exclaimed quietly. The sage laughed. "No sorcery, dear friend, only the power of words and intention. I spoke to the water with a blessing of health. Water is very receptive to vibration. It carries the energy of words. Your body, too, is mostly water and spirit. Imagine if you began speaking blessings of health to your body every day, instead of curses of illness. Malik was silent, turning the idea over in his mind. He had heard of prayers for healing, of course, but he had never prayed for himself. He'd only cursed his ailments. I don't know if I have the strength to believe I can get better. Not at my age, he said quietly. The sage placed a hand on Malik's shoulder kindly. Healing begins with a vision of wholeness. You must speak of that wholeness even before you see it. Words are the bridge between the world of energy and the world of the body. You just tasted a glimpse of it. Would you be willing to try a new approach? It won't interfere with the healer's herbs. In fact, it will make them more effective. Malik coughed again, but something in the sage's presence and the simple demonstration with the water stirred hope in him. What must I do? First, said the sage, let us change the way you address your body. You have been saying, "My body is breaking down," repeatedly. Can you acknowledge that phrase might be like a harmful spell you unwittingly cast on yourself? Malik nodded slowly. It does seem that the more I say it, the worse I feel. Then we shall replace it with a healing spell, smiled the sage. He gently helped Malik stand. Follow me if you can, just a few steps. The sage led him to the edge of a small pond nearby, where lotus flowers floated and dragonflies buzzed. The afternoon sun lit the water in golden hues. They both knelt, and the sage cupped his hands to collect some water, then let it trickle through his fingers. Water holds memory and vibration. We will use it as our ally. Splash a little on your face and arms. Malik did so, and the cool water refreshed him. Now, the sage instructed, place your hands over your heart. Breathe in deeply, and as you exhale, speak to your body as you would to a dear friend who needs encouragement. Malik closed his eyes, placed his weathered hands on his chest, and inhaled slowly. As he let the breath out, the sage nodded for him to speak. Haltingly, Malik began, "My body, you have been good to me for many years, thank you." He paused, surprised at his own words. He had never thanked his body before. Encouraged, the sage said, "Continue gently. Tell your body what you want for it." Another breath. Malik spoke a little stronger. "I want you to heal. You deserve rest and renewal. We will get better together." Saying this, he felt a lump in his throat, an unexpected wave of emotion. The sage's eyes shone. Yes. Now affirm the healing as if it's already happening. Malik took another breath, and this time his voice did not waver. Every cell in my body is filled with light and vitality. I'm healing more each day. I am growing stronger and healthier. The ripples on the pond quivered as if resonating with his words. "Beautiful," said the sage. "Did you feel that?" I felt a calmness," Malik replied with a faint smile of wonder, "and a warmth in my chest as I spoke. It felt true, even if I'm not fully healed yet." "That feeling is the sort of vibration of healing aligning with you," the sage explained. Your words carry energy, and when spoken with love and belief, even if small, they start to rearrange the energy within you. It may begin subtly, a bit more strength here, a better mood there, but it grows. Before leaving, the sage gave Malik the brass flask. Keep water by your bedside. Each morning when you wake, instead of expecting pain, try this. Speak into the water a blessing for your health, then drink it. Let your first words of the day be healing ones, and each night thank your body for the day's efforts and speak of the improvement you wish to see. Malik nodded, accepting the flask as though it were a chalice of sacred medicine. In the days that followed, Malik diligently practiced this new ritual. At sunrise, he would pour fresh water and, with a tentative hope solidifying in his heart, say things like, "I infuse this water with healing and strength. As I drink it, my body rejuvenates." Then he sipped, imagining the water carrying those words into every part of him. Afterward, he would do gentle stretches and speak kindly to any part of his body that ached. "You are healing," he would tell his knees when they felt stiff. "You are strong," he would whisper to his heart when it pounded anxiously. It felt a little awkward at first, but also strangely empowering, as if he were reclaiming a connection with himself that he'd forgotten. When villagers asked Malik how he was, he stopped responding with a litany of complaints. Even on rough days, he made an effort to say, "I'm improving, thank you," or "Today is better than yesterday." Some who knew of his condition were surprised to hear such optimistic words from him. A few skeptical ones even teased, "Did that old cough finally rattle your brain, Malik? You say you're getting better, yet you still hobble around." Malik simply smiled and repeated, "I am getting better," refusing to let their doubts steer his tongue back to negativity. In fact, he avoided discussing his illness at length at all. If he did, he made sure to add, "But I know I'm on the mend." A week passed, and Malik noticed that he indeed felt a bit stronger each morning. His cough began to ease just slightly, and his sleep was more restful, untroubled by constant worry. Encouraged, he continued his healing declarations with more conviction. Each night, as the sage advised, Malik would thank his body. "Thank you, hands, for all you did today. Thank you, lungs, for breathing. Thank you, legs, for carrying me." Then he'd affirm, "Tonight you will rest and repair. Tomorrow we will feel even better." Sometimes tears of gratitude would wet his eyes as he spoke this way, transforming what had been a relationship of frustration with his body into one of compassion and partnership. By the end of the month, the change in Malik was evident to all. He moved with greater ease around the village. He returned to tending a small herb garden behind his home, humming to himself as he watered the plants, and of course speaking to them too. "Grow well, little ones," he'd say, which he figured couldn't hurt. His once chronic cough had dwindled to an occasional mild one. The deep frown he'd worn had softened into a calm countenance. The village healer paid him a visit, expecting to find Malik in his usual despondency, and was astonished. "Malik, you look brighter," she exclaimed, checking his pulse. It was steadier than it had been in months. The herbs she had given him were mostly gone, and she offered to prepare more. Malik smiled and said, "Your herbs have helped, but I think what's helped most is finally speaking kindly to my body and believing I can heal. I realize now I had been cursing myself. I've stopped doing that. The healer, wise in her own right, nodded knowingly. Our thoughts and words affect our health as much as any potion. I'm glad you discovered that truth. News of Malik's improvement spread, and villagers started greeting him with, "Your good health is returning, I hear," to which he'd beam and reply, "Yes, praise be, it is." They too started to be more mindful of how they spoke of illnesses and ailments, noticing how Malik's positive talk seemed to coincide with better outcomes. Some even adopted Malik's practice of blessing their water, or speaking gently to their aches, and found comfort in it. A few of the elder folk approached Malik to ask how exactly to talk to the body, and he showed them, leading small groups in simple healing affirmations during evenings by the well. The community's very conversation about health began to shift from one of fatalistic complaint to one of hopeful intention and mutual encouragement. One day, as Malik walked to the market carrying a basket of herbs, something he hadn't been strong enough to do just a short time ago, he saw the familiar silhouette of the sage under the neem tree. Overjoyed, Malik hurried, almost running, which made him laugh at himself, to greet his mentor. He thanked the sage profusely. "You've given me my life back. My words were making me sick, and now they are making me well." The sage clasped Malik's hands warmly. "No, my friend. You gave yourself your life back. I only pointed the way. Your own voice carried you home to health." They spent the afternoon talking and laughing. Malik even sang an old folk song, his voice clear and hearty, echoing under the branches, something he hadn't felt like doing in years. The sage joined in the chorus, and their laughter intertwined with the rustle of leaves. Malik's story teaches us that the body believes what the mind and tongue tell it. Every cell in our being is listening to our self-talk. When we constantly speak illnesses, pains, and age over ourselves, our cells respond in kind, aligning with that vibration. But when we choose words of vitality, healing, and strength, the body eagerly aligns with those instructions. The change might not be instantaneous or as dramatic as a fairy tale, but it accumulates day by day, improving not just one's outlook, but also one's physical reality. Healing is a journey, one that words can help navigate. If you are facing health challenges or simply want to maintain a strong, vibrant body, consider the way you speak about your health. Are you cursing your body or nurturing it with your language? You have an innate capacity to self-heal that can be activated or dampened by your words. Let Malik's transformation remind you. Speak to your body as you would to a beloved friend, with encouragement, gratitude, and unwavering hope, and your body will answer with renewed life. Practice. Words of healing and vitality. Whether you seek recovery from an illness or simply wish to infuse your cells with positive energy, the following practices will help you engage the vibrational power of speech. For healing and health, consistency is key. Even if results seem gradual, know that each word is making a loving imprint on your body and mind. 1. Morning healing water blessing. Upon waking, before eating or drinking anything else, pour a glass of fresh water. Hold the glass in both hands, close your eyes and take a calming breath. Speak a healing intention into the water. For example, I charge this water with light and healing. As I drink it, it cleanses and strengthens every cell of my body. With this water, I nourish my body. I am healthy. I am whole. I am healed. Feel free to use any words that resonate with you, describing the optimal health you desire. Then slowly drink the water, visualizing those spoken intentions flowing into you, spreading to wherever healing is needed. This simple ritual not only hydrates you, but also turns your first drink into a medicine of spoken blessing. 2. Body appreciation. Talk. Choose a moment in the day, perhaps during a shower or while getting dressed, to speak kindly to your body. Address different parts of yourself with gratitude and positive direction. For example, as you wash or dress your arms, you might say, "Thank you, arms, for being strong and capable." To your heart, "Thank you for beating faithfully. You are strong and healthy." To any area that troubles you, a sore knee, a tired back, speak as Malik did, with empathy and affirmation. "Dear back, I know you ache, but I'm listening to you. We are healing together. You are releasing tension and feeling better each day." It might feel a bit funny at first, but remember, every cell is conscious on some level and will respond to love. This practice turns self-care time into a healing dialogue with your body. 3. Healing affirmations. Throughout the day, repeat specific health-focused affirmations, especially if worry or symptoms flare up. Some potent ones include, "Every cell in my body vibrates with energy and health." "I am strong, I am healthy, and I am getting better every day." "My body knows how to heal itself, and I support it with loving thoughts and words." "I release illness and welcome vibrant health and vitality." "Healing is happening in me right now. Thank you." Speak them out loud when you can, or softly under your breath in public. The key is to state them as present reality or assured process. Avoid saying, "I will be healthy." Instead, "I am healing," or "I am healthy now," because you want to claim wellness in the present tense. Feel the meaning of the words as you say them. Let hope or even certainty color your tone. 4. Reframe illness language. Pay close attention to how you speak about any ailments or discomfort. If you catch yourself saying something like, "My arthritis is getting worse," or "I'm sick and tired of," make a conscious effort to rephrase. "Each day my joints feel a bit more flexible and comfortable. I have felt ill, but I am now focusing on getting better. I'm feeling more energetic and rested as time goes on." And instead of identifying with the illness, "Now my disease, my pain," try talking about the condition as separate and temporary. This condition, this experience. For example, rather than "my chronic headaches," say, "The headaches I've experienced are easing now." This linguistic shift stops reinforcing the sickness as part of your identity and signals your intention for it to depart. Malik's story teaches us that the body believes what the mind and tongue tell it. Every cell in our being is listening to our self-talk. When we constantly speak illnesses, pains, and age over ourselves, our cells respond in kind, aligning with that vibration. But when we choose words of vitality, healing, and strength, the body eagerly aligns with those instructions. The change might not be instantaneous or as dramatic as a fairy tale, but it accumulates day by day, improving not just one's outlook, but also one's physical reality. Healing is a journey, one that words can help navigate. If you are facing health challenges or simply want to maintain a strong, vibrant body, consider the way you speak about your health. Are you cursing your body or nurturing it with your language? You have an innate capacity to self-heal that can be activated or dampened by your words. Let Malik's transformation remind you. Speak to your body as you would to a beloved friend, with encouragement, gratitude, and unwavering hope, and your body will answer with renewed life. Practice. Words of healing and vitality. Whether you seek recovery from an illness or simply wish to infuse your cells with positive energy, the following practices will help you engage the vibrational power of speech. For healing and health, consistency is key. Even if results seem gradual, know that each word is making a loving imprint on your body and mind. 1. Morning healing water blessing. Upon waking, before eating or drinking anything else, pour a glass of fresh water. Hold the glass in both hands, close your eyes, and take a calming breath. Speak a healing intention into the water. For example, I charge this water with light and healing. As I drink it, it cleanses and strengthens every cell of my body. With this water, I nourish my body. I am healthy, I am whole, I am healed. Feel free to use any words that resonate with you, describing the optimal health you desire. Then slowly drink the water, visualizing those spoken intentions flowing into you, spreading to wherever healing is needed. This simple ritual not only hydrates you, but also turns your first drink into a medicine of spoken blessing. 2. Body appreciation. Talk. Choose a moment in the day, perhaps during a shower or while getting dressed, to speak kindly to your body. Address different parts of yourself with gratitude and positive direction. For example, as you wash or dress your arms, you might say, "Thank you, arms, for being strong and capable." To your heart, "Thank you for beating faithfully. You are strong and healthy." To any area that troubles you, a sore knee, a tired back, speak as Malik did, with empathy and affirmation. "Dear back, I know you ache, but I'm listening to you. We are healing together. You are releasing tension and feeling better each day." It might feel a bit funny at first, but remember, every cell is conscious on some level and will respond to love. This practice turns self-care time into a healing dialogue with your body. 3. Healing affirmations. Throughout the day, repeat specific health-focused affirmations, especially if worry or symptoms flare up. Some potent ones include: every cell in my body vibrates with energy and health. I am strong, I am healthy, and I am getting better every day. My body knows how to heal itself, and I support it with loving thoughts and words. I release illness and welcome vibrant health and vitality. Healing is happening in me right now. Thank you. Speak them out loud when you can, or softly under your breath in public. The key is to state them as present reality or assured process. Avoid saying, "I will be healthy." Instead, "I am healing," or "I am healthy now," because you want to claim wellness in the present tense. Feel the meaning of the words as you say them. Let hope or even certainty color your tone. 4. Reframe illness language. Pay close attention to how you speak about any ailments or discomfort. If you catch yourself saying something like, "My arthritis is getting worse," or "I'm sick and tired of," make a conscious effort to rephrase. Each day my joints feel a bit more flexible and comfortable. I have felt ill, but I am now focusing on getting better. I'm feeling more energetic and rested as time goes on. And instead of identifying with the illness, now my disease, my pain, try talking about the condition as separate and temporary. This condition, this experience. For example, rather than "my chronic headaches," say, "The headaches I've experienced are easing now." This linguistic shift stops reinforcing the sickness as part of your identity and signals your intention for it to depart. 5. Bedtime healing visualization and gratitude. At night, as you lie in bed, speak a short healing prayer or visualization. For yourself, you might imagine a warm golden light flowing from head to toe, rejuvenating you as you sleep. While visualizing, say something like, "During my sleep, my body heals deeply. I awaken refreshed and stronger." Then end with gratitude, thanking your body for doing its best today and affirming trust in its healing ability. "Thank you, my body, for carrying me today. May you rest and recover. Tomorrow we thrive." This sets a powerful healing intention in your subconscious overnight. Remember, these practices supplement and enhance any other healing methods you may be using, medicine, therapy, etc. They align your mind and spirit with the reality of wellness, which can drastically improve outcomes. As you consistently speak healing and health into existence, notice the improvements, however small. Maybe your mood lifts, perhaps pain decreases, or you have more energy. Celebrate those wins by acknowledging them aloud. "I am feeling better. Thank you," which further anchors the positive trend. Your words are part of your medicine. Like a gentle, steady pulse of energy, they inform every aspect of your being that you intend to be well. Speak to yourself as a healer would, with compassion, conviction, and care. In doing so, you activate the profound healing power that has always been within you. Chapter 4. The Voice of Confidence, Confidence and Self-Worth. On the outskirts of a bustling market town, lived a skilled craftswoman named Alina. She was a weaver by trade, creating the most beautiful textiles anyone had seen. Rich dyes, intricate patterns, cloth as soft as a whisper. Her handiwork quietly adorned many homes, though few knew she was the one behind it. Despite her talent, Alina struggled mightily with her confidence and self-worth. Whenever customers praised her work, she would lower her eyes and say, "Oh, it's nothing special. I'm not that good." If someone asked for a higher-priced commission, she'd stammer that her work might disappoint them. In the marketplace, bolder merchants often undercut her, and she'd apologize as if it were her fault and accept paltry payments. Inside, Alina yearned to believe in herself and to have others recognize her value, but the words that fell from her lips told a different story, one of self-doubt and diminishment. It was as though she wore an invisible cloak of humility so heavy it had become self-negation. This cloak had been woven over years by her own repetitive phrases. "I can't. I'm not sure. I'm just average. I'm sorry." Each time she spoke of herself in this way, her confidence dimmed a little more, and those around her, consciously or not, accepted her at her own undervalued word. Even when opportunities knocked, Alina's timid speech would close the door. For instance, the town's wealthiest merchant's wife once admired a tapestry Alina made and hinted she'd pay handsomely for such skill. Flustered, Alina had replied, "Oh, you give me too much credit. I couldn't possibly charge you what it's worth," effectively ensuring she never received what it was worth. So despite extraordinary skill, Alina lived modestly, in the shadow of what her life could be, were she only to speak up for herself with boldness and pride. One day, the wandering sage came to the town's market. He perused the colourful stalls, smiling at the lively haggling and chatter. He soon noticed a quiet corner where Alina had set up a small display of her textiles. A few shoppers browsed, marvelling at the quality. One said, "These are exquisite. You could be selling them in the royal city for a fortune." Alina flushed and murmured, "Thank you, but they're just simple things I make, nothing compared to what you'd find in the city." The shoppers, unsure how to respond to her self-disparagement, bought a couple of pieces at the low price she listed and moved on, a bit perplexed that the craftswoman didn't seem to realize the value of her own work. The sage, having observed this, approached Alina's stall after the others left. He gently ran a hand over one finely woven shawl. "This is masterful work," he commented sincerely. Alina smiled politely. "You're kind. Can I help you find something? I'm sorry, my selection is small." Immediately, she apologized as if her beautiful array of shawls and blankets was a failing. The sage looked at her kindly. "Why do you apologize? I see nothing to apologize for. In fact, quite the opposite. I see much to take pride in." She shrugged, avoiding his gaze. I want people to be happy with what I make. I don't want to overstate its worth." "And so you understate yourself instead," the sage said gently. Alina looked up at him, a bit startled by the accuracy of his statement. I suppose I do. It's just how I am. I've never been bold or confident. My parents always taught me to be humble." "Humility is a virtue indeed," replied the sage, "but there is nothing virtuous about denying the truth of your gifts. That does not serve you, nor those who might benefit from your talent. He picked up a tapestry that depicted a garden scene, the threads shimmering like painted silk. Pretend for a moment that you were not the one who made this. If you found it here, how would you praise its maker? Alina's eyes lit up as they always did when admiring fine craftsmanship. I would say it's extraordinary, that whoever wove this has remarkable skill and patience, that it could easily be in a noble's home or a temple. I'd say it's worth a great price for the art and labour put in. As she spoke, describing the tapestry, she forgot her self-consciousness. She spoke truthfully, passionately. The sage nodded. Yet it was you who created it. Why then, when it carries your name, do your words change? The tapestry hasn't changed, only the story you tell about it and about yourself changes. Alina bit her lip. She had never thought about how her words diverged so drastically between how she'd speak of others' work and her own. I fear sounding arrogant, and perhaps I fear, if I claim it's valuable and others disagree, I'll be embarrassed or ashamed. It feels safer to stay quiet and small. The sage smiled with a mix of compassion and wisdom. Many of us wear these cloaks of smallness to protect ourselves from judgment. But after a while, we forget that the cloak is not our true self. Tell me, do you truly believe your work is inferior, or deep down do you know its worth? She hesitated. In her heart, Alina knew she poured all her love and excellence into her weaving. It was excellent. That's why it pained her that she couldn't claim it. Deep down, I know it's good, but it's as if my tongue won't let me say so. The sage's eyes twinkled. Then we must teach your tongue a new way to speak. Words have held you back. Now words will set you free. He stepped around to her side of the stall. May I show you something? He picked up a handsome indigo blanket she'd made, and then, to Alina's surprise, he draped it around her shoulders like a royal mantle. This is your creation. Wear it proudly for a moment. Alina stood awkwardly, but did as he asked. The sage then addressed an imaginary crowd, gesturing to Alina. Ladies and gentlemen, behold this gifted weaver. She conjures beauty from threads. This very shawl she wears was brought to life by her talented hands. Feel the quality, see the design. There is none finer in the land. Alina blushed deeply and started to protest, but the sage gently raised a hand. Simply listen, and now you say it. Her eyes widened. Say what you just said. Oh, I couldn't possibly. He gave her an encouraging look. There is no one here but a friendly old man and the open air. Practice speaking of your talent with the same admiration you had when it was anonymous. Speak as if talking about a dear friend whom you are proud of, except that friend is you. Alina swallowed nervously. The absurdity of talking about herself in such glowing terms felt like trying to lift a weight far heavier than she'd ever lifted. But something in her yearned to do it, to break free of the mute self-effacement that had stifled her. She cleared her throat and tried, I am a skilled weaver. I create beautiful cloth. The words came out in barely more than a whisper, and she cringed. The sage shook his head kindly. That was a start. But do you believe the words you just said? She wrung her hands. I'm not sure. Then let's try a different approach, the sage said. He gently guided her away from the stool. Leave your work here for a moment. Stand as yourself without your wares. Now I want you to think of something you have done that you are proud of. Anything at all, not just weaving. Alina thought for a moment. She remembered how she had taught her younger brother to read years ago, patiently guiding him, and how grateful and accomplished he felt. She was proud of that. She also recalled the time she led a small group of women in repairing the community hall's torn draperies for a festival. Her leadership had made it possible, though she never took credit publicly. A faint smile came to her face at these memories. I see that smile, said the sage. Hold that feeling of quiet pride. Now stand a little taller, if you please. Alina drew her shoulders back slightly. Good. Now repeat after me. I have gifts to share with the world. She took a breath and repeated, I have gifts to share with the world, a bit louder than before. My talents and skills are valuable. My talents and skills are valuable, she echoed, voice gaining steadiness. I deserve to be seen and heard. I deserve to be seen and heard. As Alina said this, a small thrill of truth coursed through her. Now declare. I am confident in who I am and what I offer. Alina hesitated on this one, but the sage nodded. She spoke, finding strength in the cadence of his guided words. I am confident in who I am and what I offer. The sage then said, and finally tell me in your own words one sentence that praises your own weaving. She closed her eyes, heart pounding, and imagined she was speaking of another talented craftswoman. Her voice emerged, soft but clear. My weaving is art, and it brings joy and beauty to others. The sage gently clapped his hands together, grinning. Yes, how did that feel? Alina opened her eyes. She felt warm, a bit shaky, but also elated, as if a door had opened inside her chest. It felt true and freeing, though I'm not used to saying such things. Of course, it will take practice. Think of it like learning a new pattern. At first, your fingers fumble, but soon it flows naturally. It's the same with her speaking confidently. You have to weave a new pattern with your words. He then led her back to the stall and asked her to describe each piece of her work to him as if he were a customer, but with pride and assurance. At first she tripped over modest phrases, but the sage gently corrected her. No, avoid saying, if you like it, or maybe it's okay. State what it is. This is made of fine wool I dyed myself. It's durable and one of a kind. They spent a good hour in this role play, and Alina found herself laughing at times when catching her old verbal habits sneaking in, then boldly rephrasing them. The sage's playful yet firm coaching imbued her with a new sense of what was possible in her speech. Before he departed, the sage gave Alina one last exercise. He handed her a small polished stone from his pocket. Engraved on it was a symbol of a lion. This is a speaking stone, he said with a wink, though it was just an ordinary talisman. When you hold it, it will remind you to speak with the courage of a lion and the certainty of the earth beneath you. Each morning, hold it and say just one thing about yourself that you are proud of, out loud. And whenever you catch yourself speaking poorly of yourself, Touch the stone and let it remind you of your true worth. In time, you won't need the stone at all, because confident speech will be as natural as breathing. Alina accepted the stone, thanking him deeply. She felt as if fate had sent this sage to unwind the bindings around her self-worth. Over the following days, Alina diligently continued the practice. Each morning before heading to market, she stood in front of a small bronze mirror in her cottage and spoke an affirmation while holding the stone. I am a talented weaver whose work enriches people's lives. Or, I am worthy of success and respect. She'd feel silly for mere moments, then surprisingly empowered. Walking to town, she repeated silently or softly, I am confident, I am worthy. This bolstered her spirits. At the market, when customers complimented her textiles, she fought the knee-jerk impulse to downplay and instead said, Thank you, I put a lot of love and effort into these, and I'm glad you like them. Some customers noticed the change and responded with even greater enthusiasm. She also began stating her prices with confidence, no longer immediately offering discounts out of fear. Interestingly, people started agreeing to her prices more readily. Some even commented that her work was a steal for its quality. With growing boldness, Alina even began to gently engage those who passed by with a proud introduction. Please take a look at my hand-woven shawls. I made each one and would be happy to tell you about the patterns. This was something she'd never dared to do before. Her voice, once so soft it could barely be heard over the market din, was now audible, pleasant, and self-assured. There were moments of relapse, like when one critical passerby sniffed that her prices were too high. Alina almost said, I can lower them, but she caught herself, touched the lion stone in her pocket, and instead replied, These pieces are made with high-quality materials and many hours of work. They are priced fairly for their value. The passerby shrugged and moved on. In the past, such a rejection would have crushed Alina's spirit for the day. Now, she shook it off and reaffirmed under her breath, I stand by my worth. Not long after, another customer paid the full price without question, validating her resolve. As weeks went by, Alina's business flourished. She sold more than ever, and even received special orders from neighbouring towns once word spread of her exceptional textiles. More importantly, she flourished. She carried herself differently, head up, eyes bright. Those who knew her remarked that she seemed taller, such is the subtle physical transformation when one's self-esteem rises. The words she regularly spoke had reprogrammed her mindset. She truly began to believe she was as good as she actually was. This newfound confidence magnetized more respect from others, creating a positive cycle. She was living proof of the maxim, we teach others how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. By valuing herself in speech and action, she taught the world to value her too. At home, Alina even used confident language in other areas of life. She stopped saying, I'm sorry for every little thing, unless an apology was truly warranted. She began to express her opinions more freely with friends and family, finding that people listened and often agreed. The shy weaver who once faded into the background began to shine in her community, all through the power of changing how she spoke about herself. One evening, as Alina tidied her stall after a successful day, She noticed the sage watching her from across the way, a proud smile on his face. She walked over, stood tall, and said, "Hello, my friend. I have to thank you. Your guidance changed my life." She showed him the stone with the lion, edges now worn smooth from her touch. "I don't think I even need this anymore. The lion's courage is inside me now." The sage accepted the stone back, tucking it away. "You did the work, Alina. Never forget that your own voice was the key. I merely handed it back to you when you had dropped it." As they parted, Alina found herself telling the sage about a new idea. She planned to start a weekly gathering for local artisans to practice speaking about their work and build each other's confidence, so none would undervalue themselves as she had. The sage nodded in approval. What a wonderful idea. As you uplift your own voice, you now uplift others. The ripple continues. Alina's transformation shows that the way we speak of ourselves can either shackle us or set us free. Each time we say, "I can't," or "I'm not enough," we tighten the chains of limitation. Each time we boldly say, "I can," or "I am worthy," we break a link and step closer to unbounded potential. Confidence is a voice. Before it is a feeling, often you must voice it first and let the feeling catch up. By affirming our strengths and value, especially when we least feel like it, we gradually embody those statements. If you have been in the habit of diminishing yourself, know that you can rewrite that narrative at any moment. It begins with the words you choose in daily life. Speak well of yourself, not with arrogance, but with honest acknowledgement of your worth and capabilities. This is not bragging, it is truth-telling. You are a unique expression of life with gifts to offer, just like Alina. When you own that truth, you inspire others to recognize it too. Now, let's put this into practice in your own life so you can strengthen your voice of confidence and self-worth each day. Practice. Speaking with confidence and self-worth. Building confidence is like building a muscle. It strengthens with consistent exercise. The exercises below use intentional speech to reinforce a positive self-image and break old habits of self-doubt. Practice these regularly and watch your self-assurance grow. 1. Morning mirror affirmation. Start your day by facing yourself in the mirror and declaring a powerful affirmation out loud. Look into your eyes and speak to yourself as if speaking to your dearest friend, encouraging and uplifting. Examples: I am capable and confident. I believe in myself. I deserve good things. I value who I am. Today I will use my voice and talents boldly. I love myself. I trust myself, and I am proud of myself. It's normal for this to feel awkward at first, especially if you're used to harsh or humble self-talk. Persist. Even if you don't fully believe the words yet, say them. Say them twice with more emphasis the second time. Notice your posture as you speak. Stand or sit up straight, perhaps even smile at yourself. This physical alignment reinforces the mental one. Over time, these declarations become more natural and deeply ingrained, setting a confident tone for your day. 2. The compliment acceptance rule. Often people with low self-worth deflect compliments, "Oh, it was nothing," or "No, I'm not that great." Starting now, adopt the rule to simply and gratefully accept compliments. When someone praises you or your work, your response should be a clear "thank you," and if you like, an acknowledgement like "I appreciate that," or "I'm happy you think so." Bite back the urge to downplay or self-deprecate. You might practice this by recalling recent compliments you brushed off and reimagining responding confidently. Even practice in the mirror. "Thank you. I put a lot of effort into this, and I'm glad you noticed." This trains you to own your strengths openly. Accepting praise is not vanity. It's allowing positivity to land and reinforce your self-esteem. 3. Affirmative reframing of self-talk. Pay attention to the words you use when talking about yourself, whether aloud or in thoughts, which often spill into words. Each time you catch a negative or undermining phrase, pause and reframe it into a confident statement. For instance, if you think or say, "I can't do this," immediately counter with, "I am going to learn how to do this. I am capable of figuring it out." If you hear yourself say, "I'm so stupid," stop and correct it. "I made a mistake, but I am learning and I am smart." Change, "I'm just insert belittling phrase," to "I am insert empowering phrase." E.g., "I am just average" becomes "I am unique and have my own strengths." You might write down common negative things you say and then write their positive opposites, then practice saying those out loud. By literally giving your inner critic a new script, you weaken its power and strengthen your self-supportive voice. 4. Success speaking journal. Keep a small journal or notepad, a digital notes app works too, where each day you write down at least one accomplishment or thing you did well, and then speak it out loud. It could be as simple as "I cooked a healthy meal for myself today," or "I handled that work meeting with confidence," or even "I took time to rest because I deserved it." Say aloud what you wrote. "I acknowledge and applaud myself for Shangao." Speaking these successes, no matter how small, trains you to focus on the positive and literally hear yourself being successful. It combats the tendency to only speak about failures or anxieties. Over time, you'll have pages of victories to remind you of your capability and a voice that naturally celebrates rather than criticizes. 5. Power pose and power phrase. This combines body language with speech for an instant confidence boost whenever you need it. The idea of power posing, standing tall, chest open, hands on hips or raised like a victorious athlete, has been shown to increase feelings of confidence. Create a power phrase, a short, punchy mantra that resonates with you, like "I've got this," or "I am powerful," or "I fear nothing." Find one that makes you feel strong. When you need confidence before an interview, a social event, a challenging task, find a private spot, stand in your power pose, and speak your power phrase several times with vigor. For example, stand like a superhero and declare, "I am confident, I am ready, I cannot be shaken." Say it until you feel its truth in your bones, usually a minute or two. This may sound theatrical, but it works by psyching up your physiology and mind. The spoken words amplify the effect, turning a thought into a command your whole being can follow. 6. Publicly speak up. Gradual challenge. Ultimately, confidence with yourself extends to confidence with others. Practice using your confident voice in low-stakes situations and build up. For example, if you often stay quiet in group discussions, challenge yourself to contribute at least once with a clear statement. I think that. If asking for what you need is hard, practice on small things. Confidently tell a barista how you want your coffee, or return an item to a store with the firm expectation of good service. Each time beforehand, quietly tell yourself, I have the right to speak and be heard. Afterward, regardless of outcome, acknowledge that you acted confidently. That's a win in itself. Step by step, you will expand your comfort zone. Your words, spoken firmly and calmly, will begin to command respect from the world and reinforce self-respect within. Remember, confidence is not about being perfect or better than others. It's about trusting yourself and recognizing your inherent worth. By speaking to and about yourself with respect, courage, and positivity, you nurture an inner voice that supports you instead of undermines you. With time, you become your own greatest advocate. The more you speak confidence into your life, the more you will live it. Stand tall, speak up, and let your words reflect the powerful, worthy person you truly are. The world will hear, and so will the deepest parts of your soul, which will rise to match the truth of your words. Chapter 5. The Language of Power and Certainty. Sohan was a young apprentice monk at a remote mountaintop monastery, famous for its teachings on the power of the spoken word. The monastery elders were said to possess such authority in their voices that their blessings could alter weather, and their words of insight could quell turmoil in a visitor's heart. Sohan had devoted himself to study and prayer, but he struggled with one aspect of the training, speaking with unwavering certainty and power. Whenever it was his turn to lead the evening chants or affirmations, his voice trembled with self-doubt. The older monks would remind him gently, "Speak not as one asking a question of life, but as one stating a truth." Despite understanding this in theory, Sohan's words often wavered, reflecting the uncertainty in his mind. One twilight, the venerable Master Arun, the sage we have come to know, who occasionally visited this monastery to share wisdom, observed a practice session. The monks stood in a circle around a large stone in the courtyard. The exercise was to use a commanding voice, to attempt a small miracle, encouraging a lily flower growing in a pot to bloom on command as dusk fell. This was a test of focused intention and the vibration of words. Each monk in turn stepped forward and addressed the lily. One said, "Divine flower, open your petals," in a deep, certain tone. Another declared, "In the name of nature, blossom now." The flower quivered slightly, and its buds swelled but did not yet open. Then Sohan's turn came. He stepped forward nervously. He softly uttered, Please, beautiful lily, could you bloom now?" His voice, though kind, carried hesitancy, as if he were unsure he had any right to ask this of the flower. The lily swayed in the breeze, unchanged. A few of his peers exchanged sympathetic, if slightly disappointed looks. Master Aaron raised his hand to pause the exercise. He approached Sohan, eyes twinkling, but voice stern enough to impart a lesson. "Dear boy," he said, "you asked the flower to bloom as if you doubted it might listen. Do you doubt it?" Sohan lowered his head. I suppose I do doubt. I feel silly commanding a flower. Who am I to do such a thing? What if it doesn't work and I look foolish?" Master Aaron nodded. "These doubts are natural, but they dilute the energy of your speech. A word of power must be free of doubt, like an arrow shot from a bow, straight and unwavering. When you said, 'Please' and 'Could you,' you gave the flower an option to ignore you. In truth, all of nature, all of reality, responds to the voice that knows its own authority and alignment with the greater good." Sohan looked up. "But how can I have that authority? I'm just an apprentice, not a master." The sage smiled. "You misunderstand. The authority I speak of is not about rank or ego. It's about that alignment with the truth and speaking from the core of your being. When you align your mind, heart, and spirit behind a clear intent, your words carry the weight of truth itself. In that state, even a humble apprentice's voice can command mountains, because it is not personal power, but universal power flowing through you." The other monks listened intently as Master Aaron continued, now addressing them all. The language of power and certainty has certain hallmarks. It speaks in the present tense as reality, not as a future wish. It is affirmative, not riddled with maybe or hopefully. It is calm and rooted, not frantic. And it often needs fewer words because truth is simple. He turned to Sohan specifically. To find that voice, you must first remove the weeds of doubt from your thoughts. Catch yourself whenever you internally think, "What if it doesn't work?" or "I'll try," or "I hope so." Those are like leaks in the barrel of your conviction. Plug them by choosing different thoughts. It will be so. I do. I know. Then let that inner certainty guide your tongue. Sohan bit his lip. "Master, may I try again?" Master Aaron stepped back with a gracious gesture, yielding the floor once more to the apprentice. The circle of monks focused their attention. Sohan closed his eyes and took several deep breaths, remembering to gather his mind and heart as one. He gently placed a hand over his chest, feeling the steady beat of his heart, a reminder of the life force within him that was connected to all life, even a lily. He opened his eyes, gaze now fixed calmly on the flower. In a resonant, steady voice he stated, "Little lily, the time of your blooming is now. Open." It wasn't loud, but it was firm, spoken as an undeniable fact. His voice did not rise in pitch at the end. It was not a question, but a directive filled with love and certainty. In the hush of that twilight moment, the group watched as the lily's bud trembled. Slowly, the green sepals drew back and a white petal peeked through. A collective breath was held as one by one the petals unfolded to reveal a delicate, luminous flower right there in the fading light of day. A smile of awe blossomed on Sohan's face, mirroring that lily. A few monks quietly clapped in delight. Sohan couldn't help but laugh softly in relief and wonder. Master Aaron placed a hand on Sohan's shoulder. That is the power of a word spoken with certainty. Remember this feeling, not of pride that you did it, but of connection to the flow of creation. The flower always had the potential to bloom. Your certainty merely gave it permission and a little push. Another elder monk stepped forward and addressed the circle. This is how prayers and declarations manifest, by speaking as if it is already done. He pointed to the sky where stars were emerging. If we say to the sky at midnight, "Darkness make way for light," we do not beg or doubt. We know dawn will come because that is the law of the world. When we speak with power, we invoke the laws of the universe with that same assuredness. The monastery's evening bell rang, calling them to their communal meal. As they walked inside, Master Aaron continued instructing Sohan, using the opportunity to impart specific guidance that all could benefit from. In your daily life, he said, notice the subtle ways uncertainty creeps into your words. For instance, how often do you say, "I'll try to do this," or "hopefully it will happen," or "if everything goes well"? These seem harmless, but they seed doubt. Instead, practice the language of certainty. Say, "I will do this," "it will happen," or "when everything goes well." This is not to tempt fate or ignore challenges, but to train your mind and the creative forces to focus on the outcome as a given, not a mere possibility. The monks around them nodded, some quietly acknowledging how frequently they themselves used lukewarm language. At dinner, conversation buzzed with renewed excitement. The monks were discussing historical anecdotes. One mentioned how a legendary ancestor of the order had once stopped a flood by commanding the river to halt, not with panic, but with calm authority. Another recalled a farmer in the valley who spoke to a swarm of locusts infesting his crops, declaring, "You shall leave now, this field is under my protection." And remarkably, the locusts diverted away. The farmer later credited a guardian spirit, but those who heard him knew it was the conviction in his voice that had summoned that protection. These stories were shared not as fairy tales, but as tangible examples of how aligning word with will can affect reality in extraordinary ways. After supper, Master Aaron met with a small group of advanced students, including Sohan. They sat by a great candle in the hall, the flames steady and tall. The sage gave them a practical exercise to cultivate breath and rhythm with speech. To speak with power, you must also breathe with intent. He taught, your breath fuels your words. If you speak on shallow breathing, your words lack force. If your breathing is erratic, your cadence wavers. Let's practice a simple but potent chant to unify breath, heart, and word. He instructed them in a short affirmation. I speak with the voice of truth. They were to inhale deeply and on the exhale speak the line slowly, feeling each word. They chanted together, I speak with the voice of truth. The hall resonated with their voices, each slow exhalation giving those 7 words a solid, unhurried power. They repeated it, faster, slower, experimenting with volume, but always maintaining steady breath and clear enunciation. Master Aaron showed how placing emphasis on different words changed the nuance. I speak with the voice of truth, claiming personal authority. I should speak with the voice of truth, emphasizing the action of speaking powerfully. I speak with the voice of truth, conjuring the idea of a singular, truthful voice moving through them. I speak with the voice of truth, anchoring in ultimate truth, beyond ego. The exercise imbued the students with a visceral sense of how breath and emphasis could amplify the impact of their speech. Sohan felt almost a buzzing in his body, a kind of energized calm. He realized that earlier with the lily, he had naturally done something similar. He had taken a steady breath and then spoken the command on the exhale with intention. Breath truly was the bridge between internal certainty and external expression. Before retiring that night, Master Aaron and the head monk gave everyone a final piece of advice. Speak only what you wish to create, and do so with resolve. Idle words of fear or anger, even said casually, have power too, misdirected power. The language of power is also about discipline, refraining from speaking what you don't mean or desire. The monks took a vow to be mindful, no more half-joking, I might not succeed, or careless, this will never work. Even in humor, such words could plant seeds of doubt. Instead, they would practice using words that affirmed life, strength and faith at all times. In the following days, Sohan blossomed in confidence. He led chants without trembling, focusing on meaning, and letting his voice convey conviction. He even began to mentor newer entrants on speaking assuredly. One dawn, as an exercise, he climbed a cliff overlooking the valley and shouted positive proclamations into the echoing air, hearing his voice return from the mountains, as if the universe itself answered in agreement. It was empowering beyond measure. Each echo reminded him, the world bounces back whatever he sends out, so he'd better send out clarity and confidence. It soon came time for Sohan's final test to become a full-fledged monk. He was to recite a long invocation for peace in front of a large gathering of villagers and monks, a situation that months ago would have terrified him. As he stood to speak, he remembered the lessons. Breathe deep, believe each word, avoid any timid phrasing. He began the invocation with resounding certainty. Peace is here, now, in every heart. He did not say, may peace be here. He declared it as already present. His words flowed like a powerful current, and many in the audience felt chills as the vibrations washed over them. Some said afterward, it was as if an invisible blessing descended during the speech. Even Sohan felt something greater speaking through him, and perhaps that was exactly it. When he let go of personal doubt, he became a vessel for a greater voice. His performance was not just a pass of the test, it was a memorable inspiration to all who heard. Master Aaron departed the monastery soon after, leaving behind scrolls of wisdom and countless lives touched. Sohan thanked him profoundly. The sage responded, Carry this language of power into the world, dear one, not to wield over others, but to uplift others. Teach them by example that they too can speak their desires into being, and when in doubt, remember the lily. The truth of that moment will guide you. Now, what can we draw from Sohan's experience and the monastery's teachings? The essence is this: the universe responds to the voice of certainty. When you speak with unwavering conviction, aligning heart, mind, and breath, you activate a law of creation. It's not the volume or theatrics, it's the inner alignment that matters. If there is doubt, mixed signals go out and the result comes back muddled. But pure, focused declaration has a sort of binary effect. It either happens or sets clear forces in motion to happen. Of course, in life we cannot control everything with words alone, and not every whim uttered will magically manifest. But by using the language of power, we greatly increase the likelihood of outcomes in our favor, and we cultivate an inner state that's ready to receive those outcomes. At the very least, we eliminate the self-sabotage of weak speaking that undermines our goals. Think about your own life. How often do you dilute your intentions with words like, "I'll try," "hopefully," "maybe someday"? What if you replaced those with firm statements? "I will," "It is happening," "Soon," "Certainly." Notice the feeling difference. One feels empowering, the other draining. Speaking with certainty also influences those around you. Others tend to believe in someone who believes in themselves and their words. It can make you persuasive, trustworthy, and inspiring because people can sense the conviction. Now, it's time to apply these principles yourself. We'll explore practical ways to adopt the language of power and certainty in your everyday communication, and exercises to strengthen that inner alignment that makes your speech truly impactful. Practice adopting the language of power and certainty. These exercises will help you eliminate weak, doubtful language from your vocabulary and replace it with strong, confident expressions. They'll train you to speak as if your words are law, because in the energetic realm they are. Consistency in practice will rewire your habitual speech patterns and, by extension, your mindset. 1. Replace "I'll try" with "I will." Starting now, make a conscious effort to remove "I'll try," "maybe I can," "hopefully I will" from your speech. This might be challenging because these phrases are common, polite ways to express intent without overcommitting. But for building personal power, practice using definitive language. If someone invites you to an event and you intend to go, say, "I will be there," instead of "I'll try to come." If you set a goal, say, "I will accomplish this," not "I'll try my best." Notice how "I will" feels in your body. It plants a flag in your mind that starts mobilizing your energy towards completion. On the other hand, "I'll try" leaves the outcome uncertain and gives your subconscious an escape route. Hold yourself to this standard. Speak "I will" only for things you genuinely intend, and then follow through. You'll quickly see an increase in your reliability and self-trust. 2. Present tense manifestation. Declarations. As we learned, speaking as if something is already real is powerful, Create a short list of positive outcomes you desire and phrase each in present tense as if it's happening now or inevitably will. For example, instead of "I hope to find a fulfilling job," declare "I am now finding a fulfilling job that values my talents." Instead of "I want to be more confident," say "I am growing more confident each day." Instead of "hopefully I'll get healthier," say "I am becoming stronger and healthier right now." Practice saying these declarations daily, perhaps in the morning. Stand in a posture of confidence, breathe deeply, and speak each declaration clearly and firmly. This isn't mere wishful thinking, it's instructing your mind to align with these realities and instructing the universe to respond. Even if evidence isn't visible yet, maintain the feeling that it's on its way. Consistency and faith are key. You're training yourself to not just speak, but also think in terms of certainty and success. 3. Strike wishy-washy words. Do an audit of softening words you frequently use that undermine impact. Common ones: maybe, probably, kind of, sort of, might, I guess, in a way. While these can have a place in nuanced conversation, many people overuse them out of habit or fear of being wrong. For building your verbal power, practice speaking without these qualifiers when stating your thoughts or intentions. For instance, instead of "I kind of feel that was a mistake," say "I feel that was a mistake." Instead of "maybe we should try X," say "let's try X." Dropping the hedge words makes your statement more direct and confident. Of course, use common sense. If you truly are unsure, you can say, "I'm not certain, but my thought is." The goal isn't to pretend to know everything, it's to avoid unnecessary language that erodes your point. Try a day of speaking without any maybe, hopefully, kinder, and see how empowered you feel. 4. Commanding presence. Exercise. To get comfortable with using a commanding tone, practice in private a scenario of giving commands or proclamations. Even if your daily life doesn't require it, this builds the muscle. One way is the candle exercise. Light a candle in a quiet room. Stand at a distance and, using your voice only, no blowing, speak to the flame with the intent to make it flicker or dance. Use a firm but not shouting voice. You can say "dance flame" or "flicker now." Experiment with different tones: authoritative, gentle but firm, joyful command, etc. Watch how sometimes the air from your voice causes it to move, a visual feedback for your spoken power. And sometimes even without physical air movement, the flame responds to the energy, especially if you coordinate a sharp word with a clap or step that sends vibrations. This playful practice connects voice with physical influence and can be quite fun. Another approach: practice reading a powerful passage or monologue as if you are a king or a queen addressing your people or a general rallying troops. Yes, it's theatrical. That's the point. It gets you used to hearing yourself speak with authority and strength. Over time, this will bleed into everyday situations, granting you a naturally more commanding presence when you speak. 5. Affirmation of authority. Adopt a personal mantra that reinforces your verbal power. For example, "My words have weight. When I speak truth into reality." Or, "I command my reality with love and certainty," Another could be, I speak with the authority of my highest self. Repeat a chosen mantra in meditation or before important conversations or presentations. This isn't about authority over others, but authority over your own life and co-creation with the universe. By affirming it, you prime yourself to step into that role. You might even visualize yourself as that monk commanding the lily to bloom, or any figure you admire who speaks and things happen. See that in your mind and feel it in your body. Then, carry that feeling into your speech. 6. Practice, it is done, and so be it. A technique borrowed from various spiritual traditions is to conclude your intentions or prayers with a phrase that signifies completion and release, like Amen, so it is, or it is done. In everyday terms, when you set an intention or make a decision, you can finish by saying, even just to yourself, it is done. For example, after writing down a goal or telling someone what you plan to do, end with a quiet but firm, it is done, or so be it. This finalizes it in your mind, much like hitting a save button or sealing an envelope to mail. It prevents second guessing. Practice this in minor things. I will go to the gym this evening. It is done. And in significant affirmations, I welcome the perfect partner into my life. So be it. It might feel ceremonial, but that's good. It adds weight and a sense of finality, preventing your mind from reopening the case to doubt. By consistently integrating the above practices, your speaking patterns will transform. You'll find that you begin naturally speaking with more assurance and positive expectation. Others will notice the change too, perhaps commenting that you sound more confident or that your words are inspiring or calming. More profoundly, you will start to notice life moving in sync with your declarations. The coincidences and opportunities responding to your voiced intentions will reinforce your faith in this approach. Embrace the language of power and certainty and use it wisely. Always couple your powerful speech with positive, constructive intentions. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. As you do, you become a conscious creator with your words, a weaver of reality, commanding with love and shaping your destiny one sentence at a time.